Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Dandavat pranams to all the devotees. Thank you all for joining in for our study session. We'll start with prayers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadahamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanitamscha Namo Vishnupadhaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauramani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshadarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatrapatamam vande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Meshwaram Harihi Om Tatsat Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Dharaliye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tatbhaktaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna. So that pronounced to all the devotees. Thank you all for joining in. So we are continuing with the study of teachings of Lord Chaitanya, chapter number 12, which is entitled the devotee. What are the qualifications? What are the qualities of a devotee? What does he do? What does he not do? These are described by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sanatana Goswami. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says a devotee does not fight. Devotee is very kind to everyone. He actually is akinchana gochara. That means what? He does not have any. He does not have any possession. Does not have any material possession because he's completely surrendered under the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is very humble. He does not have lust, anger, greed, pride, envy, illusion, and all the qualities that are described in Bhagavatam. Right? Yasyasya bhaktir bhagavati akinchana sarver gunai sitra samasateshwara harava bhaktisya kuto mahan guna manoratena sati davato bhagihi. So all the good qualities when present in a Vaishnava, they all help that particular person to actually they are ornaments when they are present in a Vaishnava, because they help that those qualities help them advance in devotional service, and by practicing devotional service those qualities also get enhanced. But however, what is the use of those qualities being present in a person who is not a devotee? Because that is not going to help that such a person advance in devotional service, right? So there is no use of that, right? So and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells Sanatana Goswami about the discussion between Maharaja Nini and the 9 Yogendras, right? Where he talks about sadhu sanga sarva shastra kahe laba matra sadhu sanga sarva siddhi hoya. That means even a moment's association with a pure devotee of the Lord can actually purify a person. Shipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shanti nigachiti kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashati. Even if a person may have apparently some kind of qualities which are not supposed to be possessed by a devotee, but even if such a person has such qualities, but simply if such a person is engaged in devotional service, then all these unnecessary things will be given up, and the qualities which are described in Bhagavad Gita, like satyam, saucham, daya, tapa, all of them, right? Truthfulness, cleanliness, mercy, gravity, all these qualities will automatically obtained by a person who is engaged in devotional service, right? And what is the only thing a person should avoid is the person should try to avoid the association of those people who are materialistic, those people who are very attached to women. When a person is not attached to such kind of people, then and in interim instruction, Rupa Goswami says, right? Janasangascha laulyam cha shadbir bhaktir vinashyati. Janasanga, that means Janasanga means associating with materialistic people, right? We were discussing the other day about how we are the average of the 5 people whose association we take, right? So if we associate with 5 people who are materialistic and spend a lot of time with them, then automatically we will also become materialistic. And laulyam cha, laulyam can be converted into or can be dovetailed into Krishna consciousness. How is dovetailed? The greed for possessing materialistic things. We can dovetail it into developing the greed for hearing about Krishna, the greed about serving Lord Krishna and his devotees. So in such a way, it can be dovetailed. And in this way, what happens? All of these qualities become favorable for us to enhance our devotional service. Right. So now we continue reading here what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is quoting from Katyayana Samhita about the qualities. No, the what is asat sangha, right? We say asat sangha tyaga. That means we should avoid materialistic association. So what is that? That's what is described by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here. So let's go ahead. Okay, anyone wants to read? You can raise your hands. Regarding remaining aloof from unholy persons, Lord Chaitanya quoted a verse from the Katyayana Samhita. What does he say? One should rather tolerate the miseries of being locked in a cage filled with fire than associate with those who are not devotees of the Lord, right? They say in English also, better be alone than in bad company, right? What does it mean? It means that if you are alone, at least, we will be, even if we have some materialistic desires, right? If you are alone, at least that will not get fueled, right? Rather than if you associate with somebody who will fuel that material desire. Oh, you have to get it. Okay, okay. I think you should try this. You should do this. When somebody fuels it, then what happens? Bad association will lead to increase in the desire for materialistic association. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see Brishabhanu Kanya Mataji. Go ahead and you can read this. Okay. Let me read this paragraph and then you can start. Okay. Indeed, one is advised not to even look at the faces of persons who are religious or without any devotion to the Supreme Lord. In other words, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommended that one should scrupulously renounce the association of unwanted persons and completely take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. And Krishna gave the same instruction to Arjuna at the end of the Bhagavad Gita. What did he say? Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam praja. Ham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami mashutaha. Give up everything, surrender unto me. I will take care of you and protect you from all the sinful reactions. And do not worry. The Lord is very kind to his devotees and is very grateful. Is very able and is very magnanimous. Of course, the devotees, whatever like Mama Tejo Amsha Sambhava, we saw the other day. Whatever good qualities or wonderful qualities that a devotee possesses, automatically it has been received from the Lord only. The Lord is the Shrotra. Lord is the origin of all of this. Therefore, it is our duty to believe his words. And if we're intelligent enough and educated enough, we will follow his instructions without hesitation. We have to follow the instructions of the Lord without hesitation. In Srimad Bhagavatam 10.48.26, Akrura tells Krishna, Panditastvaparam Sharanyam Samiyat Bhakta Priyadratagirah Suhada Kritajnat Sarvan Dadati Suhrido Bhajato Abhikaman Atmanam Abhyupachaya Pachauyau Nayasya. Okay, Vrishabhanu Kanya Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
Yeah, who can surrender?
Who can surrender to anyone other than you? Who is so dear, who is so truthful, who is so friendly, and who is so grateful? You are so perfect and complete that even though you give yourself to your devotee, you are still full and perfect. You can therefore satisfy all the desires of your devotee, even deliver yourself unto him. Even deliver yourself unto him. A person who is intelligent and able to understand the philosophy of Krishna consciousness naturally gives up everything and takes shelter only of Krishna. In this regard, Lord Chaitanya recited a verse spoken by Uddhava in Srimad Bhagavatam 3.2.23. How can one take shelter of anyone but Krishna, who else is so kind? Even though Bakasura's sister Putna tried to kill Krishna when he was an infant by applying poison to her breast and offering it to him to suck. Still, that heinous woman received salvation and was elevated to the same platform as his own mother. Krishna accepted the poisonous beast of the demonic woman Putana, and when he sucked milk from her breast, the from her bre- from her breast of the demonic woman Putana, and when he stuck the milk from her breast, he sucked out her life also. Nonetheless, Putna was elevated to the same poison as Krishna's own mother. There is no essential difference between a fully.
Same position. Yeah. So thank you, Mataji. So here we are very, very important. This is also the verse in Bhagavatam, which after hearing Shukadeva Goswami actually became a bhakta, right? Until such time he was actually when he was born only, like he was 16 years and he was on the womb of his mother, right? And then what happens when he comes out? Then he immediately rushes off because he is a completely liberated person. He doesn't want to get entangled in the clutches of family life, in the clutches of material life. So what does he do? Immediately goes off. And then Vyasadeva is running behind Sukadeva Goswami. But Sukadeva Goswami does not stop. So what does Vyasadeva do? Vyasadeva actually sends two of his disciples who are disguised as woodcutters, right? And going where in the forest where Sukadeva Goswami is actually sitting and meditating, right? He is the follower of the impersonal Brahman, like that, right? Not a Mayavadi, but he was a Brahmavadi. That means Brahmavadi means he was only thinking that the Lord is yeah. So he was thinking that the Lord in his full realization is only a light, right? So he was a Brahmavadi. But when he was meditating in the forest, he saw these two woodcutters, right? They are just cutting down the trees and all. They were acting, they were disguised like that, but they were chanting the verses of Bhagavatam. And then when they were chanting these two verses, one was Barha Apidam, but that beauty, they're describing the beauty of the Lord. The second is this, describing the compassion of the Lord. How Putana was actually delivered. A lady smeared her breast with poison and actually came to kill Krishna. And what did Krishna do? And he was just a 3 or 4 months old baby. So what did he do? He actually sucked the poison out of Putana's breast, killed her, at the same time elevated her to become a mother in the spiritual world. Right? When Shukadeva Goswami heard this, then what happened? He became very, very ecstatic because he was hearing the beauty of the Lord, how he's wearing a nice peacock feather, he's wearing nice yellow garments, he's playing his flute very beautifully. So in this way, when he's hearing about the Lord, and then he's also hearing not only is the Lord beautiful, but he's so compassionate, right? He to the same person who came to kill him, he gave the position of a mother in the spiritual world. And when Sukadeva Goswami heard this, he actually became a pure devotee of the Lord. Or rather, what did he do? He asked those woodcutters, right? Whom are you talking about? I'm getting so much attracted to this personality whom you're describing in these verses. So who are these personality? Who is this personality? I want to meet. And then what does these woodcutters were actually disciples of Vyasadeva? They tell Shukadeva Goswami that we are just reciting 2 out of the 18,000 beautiful verses which are glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We will take you to our spiritual master who will be able to explain more about this. And then what happens? Shukadeva Goswami happily goes to only find that Vyasadeva is their spiritual master. And so he starts hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Vyasadeva. And in this way, Shukadeva Goswami becomes a pure devotee of the Lord, having heard the entire Srimad Bhagavatam from his father Vyasadeva. And later on, when Parikshit Maharaj was cursed by Shringi, and what happens? Shukadeva Goswami becomes the right person to actually speak the Bhagavatam. Wherein in that assembly, Vyasadeva, Narada Muni, the spiritual master of Vyasadeva, the spiritual master of Shukadeva Goswami, and his spiritual master, all of them were present in that assembly. And Shukadeva Goswami became so qualified to speak the Srimad Bhagavatam. We can see, Mataji. What is it? We can't see. Yeah, because I'm not sharing the screen. Okay, because your message reads, we can see. I was wondering, what can you see? Please, what is it? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Fine. Now I understood. Oh, okay, fine. Okay, I hope it's okay. All right. So what was I saying? Yeah, because my speaker is not working. That's the reason I logged in from my mobile. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So in this way, Shukadeva Goswami became a pure devotee of the Lord, and Shukadeva Goswami preached the Srimad Bhagavatam in such a way that his spiritual masters also were present in that particular assembly to hear this Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is the potency of hearing about the Lord from a pure devotee of the Lord. Right? Vyasadeva himself is a literary incarnation of the Lord, and when he spoke, Shukadeva Goswami became elevated from being in the Brahman platform to becoming a Brahmavadi. From a Brahmavadi, became a pure devotee of the Lord. When he heard about the beauty of the Lord and he heard about the compassion of the Lord, he wanted to understand more and more about this Lord who is so merciful, right? So in this way, here also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is describing this to the same thing to Sanatana Goswami, telling Sanatana Goswami that these are the wonderful qualities of the Lord. Who is that Lord? Krishna himself. These are the wonderful beauty of Lord Sri Krishna. In the previous chapter, we spoke about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spoke to Sanatana Goswami about the opulences of the Lord. Then he spoke about the attitude of devotional service that one has to cultivate, because simply by knowing the opulences of the Lord but not having the attitude to serve the Lord is no use. And now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Sanatana Goswami how one develops this attitude by hearing, right? Srinavadam Swagatam Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantasto hi abhadrani vidunoti suhrit satam. Right? That means what? By simply hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Vidunoti suhrit satam. That means one is simply the process of hearing and chanting the verses from Srimad Bhagavatam is in itself is auspicious. Punya, Shravana, Kirtana. And then what happens? Hridyantasto hi abhadrani. Whatever is the impurities, abhadra means inauspicious things which are there in the heart, are removed, and one is elevated to the platform of pure devotional service. Right? Actually, Shukadeva Goswami was already in the Brahman platform, right? Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na kankshati. That is why he left everything and went. Right? He's a son of Vyasadeva. He's inside the womb for 16 years. He said, I will not come out, because the moment, the child inside the womb, it's a very, very, a very, very deplorable condition where in between the pus and the urine and the stool of the mother, the child is inside that sac, full tamasic mode and darkness like that. So at that time, it is said that the child prays to the Lord, when I come out, now please help me come out of this, dungeon, right? I will definitely pray to you, right? Like that, the child in the womb prays to the Lord. But what happens when we are born? When we come out, and then there are so many people surrounding us, and they're trying to, kuchiku and all those words, and oh, this, that. And the child forgets. The child thinks, oh, I belong here. There are so many people who are loving. The child forgets. Of course, we also don't remember, right? And then the child thinks that, the child is born crying only, and we cry throughout our life. But what is it that we do? We think we are, oh, now I am crying, but I can do something by which I can become happy in this material world. And that is why we cry throughout the life, and then we enter into another mother's womb to start our crying business again. Right? So in this way, study of Srimad Bhagavatam enables us to get out of this knot of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, Dukkha, Doshanu, Darshanam. This is completely Dukkha. But unfortunately, we are so foolish that we think that I am crying now, but if I engage in all these sense gratificatory activities, then I will become happy. But then we are getting frustrated, and then we are landing ourselves in worse destination than what we are right now, thinking that this will help. Right? So that is our sad state. But then by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga, Brahmandi Brahmiti Kona Bhagyavana Jiva, Guru Krishna Prasadi Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. The mercy of Guru and Gauranga, person who is fortunate enough to receive the seed of devotional service, such a person is so fortunate, and such a person has to utilize that, the process of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the process of association with devotees, of those devotees who are fixed up in devotional service. By associating with such devotees, one grows one's creeper of bhakti. and in such a way that the creeper goes up, grows. His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj explains very beautifully in one lecture of Chaitanya Charitamrita. He tells that it will cross all the Mahatattva, and then this creeper grows, and you have to cut all the weeds of anarthas like Vaishnava Prad and everything. We have to remove it and then chant Hare Krishna. And then the sunlight is, the environment of pure devotees, the association of pure devotees. We water the plant nicely by the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. And then the Bhakti Lata grows, crosses the Mahatattva and reaches the lotus feet of Shri Radha and Krishna. And then the buds come out first, and then it blooms into flowers, and then finally it gives the fruit of Krishna Prema. Right? At that stage, it is Krishna Prema. Right? The fruit or the phala, which is Krishna Prema. So in this way, very beautifully, Srila Guru Maharaj explains it. Right? So what are we supposed to do? We've got the seed. We have to water it by chanting Hare Krishna mantra. We have to chant in the association of devotees. And then what is it? We have to avoid the anarthas. We have to avoid the aparadas. Avoid the weeds which are growing along with our cultivation of the Bhakti Lata. Along with the Bhakti creeper, other anarthas are also growing. So we need to cut the other weeds in such a way that our Bhakti creeper grows very nicely. So how do we do that? By hearing Bhagavatam in the association of devotees, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, performing a deity worship, performing seva, right, devotional service. In all these ways, what are we trying to do? We are trying to grow our Bhakti Lata in such a way that it can reach the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and bear the fruit of Krishna Prema. So that's what is the goal. Hare Krishna. And all begins by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, which is defined here. Right? By hearing of Bhagavatam in the association of devotees. What happens? Then we understand who Lord is, right? And okay, where will we? Yeah, we understand who the Lord is and how we can reach that Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then we also understand that there is no other shelter other than Krishna himself, right? Somebody who's so compassionate. Why do we need to take shelter under anyone else? We can take shelter of the Lord and the Lord's representatives who are coming in the Guru Parampara. Okay, Sindhu Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Pranam.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There is no essential difference between a fully surrendered soul and a man in the renounced order of life. Only difference is that fully surrendered soul is completely dependent upon Krishna. There are 6 qualifications for surrender. The first is that one should accept everything favorable for the discharge of one's duties in devotional service, and one should be determined to accept the process. Second is that one should give up everything that is unfavorable for the discharge of devotional service, and one should be determined to give it up all. Thirdly, one should be convinced that only Krishna can protect him. One should have full faith that the Lord will give that protection. An impersonal thinks that his actual identity is in being one with Krishna, but a devotee does not destroy his identity in this way. He lives with full faith that Krishna will kindly protect him in all respects. Fourthly, a devotee should always accept Krishna as his maintainer. Those who are interested in the fruits of activities generally expect protection from the demigods, but a devotee of Krishna does not look to any demigod for protection. He is fully convinced that Krishna will protect him from all kinds of unfavorable conditions. Fifthly, a devotee is always conscious that he is not independent in fulfilling his desires. Unless Krishna fulfills them, they cannot be fulfilled. Lastly, one should always think of himself as most fallen so that Krishna will take care of him. Such a surrender. Thank you.
So this is a very, very wonderful verse actually, which describes the 6 limbs of surrender of a devotee, right? Even in in 18.65, 18.66, Sarvadhaman Parityaja Mamikam Sharanam Braja. In that verse, purport also, Prabhupada actually describes very beautifully by explaining this verse. Right? Anukulyena sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam. Right? That means accepting whatever is favorable for devotional service and giving up or rejecting what is unfavorable for devotional service, for one's advancement in devotional service. Anukulyena sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam. So, yeah, this is also Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 22.100. This verse also talks about it, right? Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam, right? So here, if you see the highlighted yellow ones, basically Prabhupada is actually giving us these points based on the instruction that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually gave to Sanatana Goswami. What is that? Anukulyena sankalpa. That means accept everything that's favorable for devotional service. Pratikulyasya varjanam. That means give up whatever is unfavorable for the discharge of devotional service. And then rakshishyatiti vishwa. So what is that? One should be convinced that Krishna is my only protector, and one should give up taking shelter of anything and everything else. Right? The other day we were studying how if whomever we take shelter of in this world, that person only we will remember at the time of death. Right? That is why we should completely know that whatever benefit is provided, even though several people could be instruments of it, or through whom Krishna may provide, Krishna is the ultimate provider. Krishna is the ultimate shelter. That is Rakshish Yatiti Vishwaso. Krishna will protect me. Vishwaso means faith. I have the faith, I have the complete faith that Krishna will always protect me. And then Gopatritve Varnam Tata. Gopatritve Varnam Tata means like the gopis, right? The gopis and the gopas of Vrindavan, what would they do? They would just go ahead and do anything because Krishna will always come and protect me. They would never think that what if something happens to me? Who will protect me? Right? Never. Those are the symptoms of a pure devotee of the Lord because they completely surrender to the Lord. Right? And even the other day we saw the example of Arjuna also. How he promised, I will kill Jayadratha by evening, by sunset, otherwise I will enter into the fire. And then Krishna is thinking, why did you make a promise like that? How are you going to kill Jayadratha? The whole army, they will ensure that Jayadratha is put in such a place that you cannot kill him. How are you promising like this? What if you're not able to fulfill the promise? And what did Arjuna tell Krishna? That's your problem. I've told them I will kill them before sunset. Now you have to ensure that because you only told, Krishna only tells, Konteya pratijanihi nami bhakta pranashyati. My devotee will never perish. And the devotee has already told, Arjuna has already told, I will kill Jayadratha or I will enter the fire and give up my life. Right? And then what did Krishna do? And the next day it was supposed to happen, and today Arjuna is sleeping very nicely. Okay, and then now Krishna is wondering, what should I plan to ensure that this Arjuna fulfills his promise and does not need to enter fire. Right? So Rakshish Yatiti Vishwaso and Gopatratve Varnam, they are both connected. Right? When a devotee is surrendered completely unto the Lord will plan everything to ensure that the devotee is protected at all times. It does not mean that we go and promise everything, right? We should know our level also. What is my level of surrender that I say something and Krishna has to come and fulfill, right? So one should understand one's level also. But if it's a pure devotee like Arjuna, if it's a pure devotee of the Lord like the gopis, then Krishna does everything, right? Krishna protects them from Agasura. The gopas just happily enter into that Aga, and then they are inside, and then they think it's a cave and go inside, and then Krishna goes inside and protects them. Right, so many things, and then they just drink the water from Yamuna, which is inhabited by Kaliya. They all fall down unconscious, and Krishna protects them. Right, so Gopatritve Varnam Tada, that they know that there is nobody else who is their maintainer except Lord Shri Krishna. And when somebody surrenders like that to Lord, then the Lord goes to all extent to protect such a devotee, and this is the limb of surrender. Then Atma Nikshepa means completely Nikshepa means dependent on the Lord. Right? One never thinks that I can do it by my endeavor. I will do it. Right? When we know I can do it, or when I will do it myself, then there is a question of surrender. Right? We surrender, like Draupadi also, she surrendered completely to the Lord with both her arms up. Right? So she tried many things, right? Holding on to her cloth, etc., etc. But when she surrendered completely, then what happened? Where was Krishna? Krishna was somewhere. Krishna was in Dwaraka. All this was happening where? In Hastinapura. But simply Draupadi had to surrender and call out Krishna's name. And then what happened? Krishna came in the form of unlimited cloth to actually protect our Draupadi, isn't it? So all of these things are related. Rakshish Yaditi Vishwaso. Draupadi had complete faith that Lord Krishna will protect. Rakshish Yaditi Vishwaso. And then what is that? Gopatratve Varnam Tata. That means surrender in the mood of the Vrindavan Vasis, like the Gopas and the gopis. And then Atmanikshepa. Atmanikshepa means not thinking that, oh, I am a pure devotee, Krishna has to come and help me. No, complete surrender. Oh, Krishna, if you don't help me, then I have no other way, I have no other shelter. And if you don't protect me, maybe that is only the best thing for me, right? So that is why we also understand Parikshit Maharaj. He also took it the same way. Krishna protected him and in the womb of his mother, and the next time Krishna protected him by giving his remembrance. That's why uh, we cannot demand how much Krishna will protect us and how Krishna will come and protect us, right? That's why we are dependent on the Lord. However the Lord is willing to protect me, I am happy to accept such protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the mood of a devotee. That is Atmanikshepa. And then Karpanye. What is Karpanya? Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava. Karpanya means one should be humble, right? Kripana means miserly, right? Miserly means one does not know how to use one's wealth, right? Somebody is simply hoarding the wealth. That is Karpanya, right? But what is the verse that is mentioned here? Karpanye, the actual the meaning of the word Karpanya dosho pahata swabhava also comes in that important verse, right? What is that? I am surrendering unto you with complete humility, right? Then I understand that there's nobody who can protect me. I'm completely surrendering to the Supreme Lord. I have no one else but Krishna as my shelter. Then we cannot demand protection. We will not demand protection, right? We have nobody shelter. Okay, like a beggar, right? When we are begging, right? When a beggar is begging on the road, he will not say, "Hey, why are you giving 1 rupee? Give me 100 rupees. Give me 1,000 rupees." And what will you say? You will take that 1 rupee also and go, isn't it? Because you are begging already, and then you have demands also, right? So what is the use? What is the quality? That's not the quality of a beggar, isn't it? What should a beggar do? A beggar should completely surrender, and whatever one gets, one accepts as the mercy. That is the begging. That is a proper beggar. Otherwise, one is simply acting, right? That is not patita. Patita means one understands I'm so fallen, and one simply relies on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is patita. But what is the person begging, and he's asking, you give me minimum 100 rupees, otherwise don't give me. Okay, nobody will give him, right? And then he has to continue as a beggar only, because that is kapata, right? He's not actually, he is a beggar, but he thinks he put some conditions also. Then who will be merciful to such a beggar? Nobody, isn't it? So when we are begging the Lord for devotional service, when we are begging the Lord for kindly giving us taste in chanting Hare Krishna, we should not put some conditions, right? Krishna, if you fulfill ABC condition, then only I will wake up during Brahma Murta and chant. And Krishna will say, okay, you sleep, be in ignorance, right? And then what happens? Krishna is not affected that we are not getting up and chanting in Brahma Murta, right? Krishna is enjoying in the spiritual world. However, Krishna is continuously reiterating this process. He comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, gives his instructions again and again, lives as a renunciant. Why should the Lord come, renounce everything and become a sannyasi? Why? Because he wants us to go back to him. He is the embodiment of renunciation. He is the embodiment of all the good qualities. He is the embodiment of compassion. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. But what are we thinking? We are thinking, oh, I will do all the kukrama I want to do, and then I will do this chanting also, and then I complain also, right? I am chanting for 20 years. Why am I not getting Krishna Prem? Why am I not getting taste? And you demand the Lord. The Lord is not giving me, right? So in this way, when we are not humble, then we will find so many reasons why we are not benefiting from the Lord, right? But what should be our mode? Our mode is, how can I serve the Lord in a way that pleases him? Not the Lord has to act in a way that pleases me. That is not surrender, isn't it? So the 6 points are anukulyasya sankalpa, doing those things which are favorable for devotional service. Pratikulyasya varjanam, not doing things which are unfavorable for devotional service. Rakshishyatiti vishwaso, that means completely understanding that there is nobody else who can protect me other than Krishna. Gopatratve varnam tatha. That means in the mood, the surrender should be like that of the gopis, with complete faith and dependence on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Atma Nikshepa, understanding that nothing is in my hands, right? Everything is there in the hands of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like Gaur Gopal Prabhu always says, right? If you can do something about it, do it. Why you worry? If you cannot do it, leave it to the Lord, right? Because we have to try our best. It's not that we completely depend on the Lord, right? What did Krishna tell Arjuna, right? Ma manusmara yuddhyacha. We are supposed to do the battle, But we have to do the battle, fight the battle in consciousness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? So Atma Nikshepa and Karpanya with humility. This is Shadvida Sharanagati. So if these 6 limbs are covered in our process of surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then we can expect the Supreme Personality of Godhead to give us all protection. And whatever is the way Krishna gives protection, we should be happy or we should accept it. Right? Because Krishna says, "Na mokshishyami ma shuchaha." Simply surrender unto me. Sarvadharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja. Right? That is also very important. Exclusive surrender. Krishna demands. Right? Krishna, we cannot surrender to the demigods and also worship Krishna. Right? Only this, I will go to this demigod. I only want to get married. Let me worship Lord Shiva. Once I get a beautiful wife, then I will worship Krishna. Oh, I just want to get a nice job. Let me worship Lakshmi Devi. Let me get a lot of money. Then I will worship Krishna. Right? In all these pursuits, what happens? Life ends. And then according to the desires that we have, we don't know whether next time we will get a human body also or not. Right? So it is not worth risking all of these things. Right? We've got the association of devotees. We've got this opportunity of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We got Prabhupada's International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We have got everything that is enough and much more for us to perfect our lives in this lifetime, provided we only become sincere and consistent in performing devotional service. That is all that we need to perfect our lives in this lifetime. So we can introspect to see how much are we expressing our sincerity and determination and enthusiasm to practice these principles of Sharanagati so as to attain the mercy of Lord Krishna. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, such a surrendered person, what does he do? Shobha Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Dandar Pranams Mataji, Srila Prabhupada Ji. Such a surrendered soul should take shelter of the holy place like Vrindavana, Mathura, Dwaraka, Mayapur, etc., and should surrender himself unto the Lord, saying, "My Lord, from today I am yours. You can protect me or kill me as you like." A pure devotee takes shelter of Krishna in such a way, and Krishna is so grateful that he accepts him and gives him all kinds of protection. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, 31st Shloka, 29th chapter, 11th canto, where it is said that if a person who is about to die takes full shelter of the Supreme Lord and places himself fully under his care, he actually attains immortality and becomes eligible to associate with the Supreme Lord and enjoys transcendental bliss. The Lord then explains to Sanatana Goswami the various types of symptoms of practical devotional service. When devotional service is performed with our present senses, it is called practical devotional service. Actually, devotional service is the eternal life of living entity and is lying dormant in everyone's heart. The practice which invokes the dormant devotional service is called practical devotional service. The purpose is that the living entity is constantly part and parcel of Supreme Lord. The Lord can be compared to the sun, and the living entity can be compared to the molecules of sunshine. Under the spell of illusionary energy, the spiritual spark is almost extinguished. But by practical devotional service, one can revive his natural constitutional position. When one practices devotional service, it should be understood that he is returning to his original and normal liberated position. Devotional service can be practiced with one's senses under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master. One begins spiritual activities for advancement in Krishna consciousness by hearing. Hearing is the most important method for advancement, and one should be very eager to hear favorably about Krishna. Giving up all speculation and fruitive activity, one should simply worship and desire to attain the love of God. The love of God is eternally existing within everyone. It simply has to be evoked by the process of hearing. Hearing and chanting are the principal methods of devotional service.
Hare
Devotional
Krishna. Thank
service, maybe. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol, thank you, Mother.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Right. So now we are progressing towards what is pure devotional service and how do we revive that pure devotional service. The other day we were discussing how this is not an artificial imposition on the mind. Prabhupada gives in his famous lecture of 1965. Prabhupada very beautifully declares that Krishna consciousness is not an artificial imposition on the mind. It is the natural tendency of every person to serve. And if we don't serve God, then we serve dog. Like that he talks about. Right? Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Karaya Udaya. Right? Our heart is already having that loving propensity, is having that propensity to do devotional service. But if it is not directed towards the Lord, then we will be directed towards all the wrong people that we are serving, right? So service is so natural to the soul. Service is the dharma of the soul, just like sweetness is the dharma of sugar, right? So just like when we prepare a sweet, right? The sweetness when we add sugar, it adds it the dharma of that particular sweet is what the sweetness, because we added sugar to it. So similarly, service is always there. Either we serve the supreme personality of Godhead, and if the Lord is pleased, all of the living entities will automatically be pleased, because we are part and parcels of that supreme personality of Godhead. However, the other day we were describing how, right, the gulab jamun being held in the hand, right? If the hand says, I will enjoy, I will not put it inside the mouth, or the mouth says, I will not swallow it, then all of these parts of the body cannot enjoy independently, right? What do they have to do? They have to feed the right part of the body for the body to feel nourished and the body to feel energized, isn't it? So similarly, if we serve the senses of the supreme personality of Godhead, then the Lord is pleased, and automatically the parts and parcels of the Lord, Mame Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, parts and parcels of the Lord, like in this particular context, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving the example of the fire and the sparks of fire. They are, if the fire is taken care of, then the spark of fire is automatically taken care of. Just like when you have 200 rupees, 2 and 20 rupees are automatically included in it. So similarly, if the Supreme Personality of Godhead is satisfied, then automatically its parts and parcels are automatically satisfied. And then Prabhupada also talks about here, how do we do that, right? We understand that we have to serve and please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but how do we reawaken this dormant love, the dormant perpetual devotional service that is there in our heart? That is by Shravanam. Shravanadi Shuddha Chitta Karaya Udaya. That means Karaya Udaya means what? It's not like coming from outside. It is already there in the heart, but it is all covered by Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya. So we need to make it or reawaken in our heart, and that is by the process of hearing from a bona fide devotee, from the Guru, for the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga. And when Guru and Gauranga are pleased by our hearing process, by our desire to implement whatever we have heard, it's not like Bhagavat Sapta 7 days entertainment, right? We hear and then we forget, and then go home and watch TV serial. The next day you come and hear. It's not about. Hearing has to create transformation. That is why it is very important to hear from a bona fide spiritual master, or from a spiritual master who's coming in a bona fide Guru Parampara, and then chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, right? Sometimes hearing also we do it at an intellectual level. If you are very intellectual, to understand the study of Vedic scriptures, hearing also happens like that. But chanting, unless we have taste, we cannot chant 16 rounds, 20 rounds, 75 rounds, 128 rounds. We cannot chant on a daily basis like Haridas Thakur did. Why? There is no music. There is nothing material for us to get attracted to. In Kirtan, we may be attracted to the material music, the tune, etc. In hearing also, we may just, titillate our intelligence. I'm able to speak so nicely. I'm able to hear this. I'm able to understand this. Oh, I'm able to remember the verses, etc. That also is kind of sense gratification. But if you're able to chant Hare Krishna with no musical notes, nothing. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's the same mantra, right? We don't change the mantra because we are getting bored. Why? Because we are not chanting for our sense gratification. Because it gives pleasure to the Lord. We are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, right? If you are able to chant Hare Krishna sincerely, regularly, consistently for, throughout our life, right? Then, at least minimum 16 rounds to, we should be chanting maximum number of rounds. And Rupa Goswami is a pure devotee. He says, I want millions of mouths to chant Hare Krishna and hear the Mahamantra, right? Then that becomes our situation. Then Mukti Padesa Dayabak, right? That means we will be, we'll become rightful heirs to, the liberation. Liberation means what? Service to the Lord in the mode of pure devotion, right? Ahituki Napratihata. That means without expecting anything from the Lord, and also in all circumstances, without interruption, we serve the Lord. That is the highest level, right? That is why, and it's also mentioned here, that one need not be in the loka of the Lord also. That's why devotee does not want to go to the Lord's loka also. Wherever I am, let me have the desire to serve satisfy and please Guru and Gauranga. That is the best position for a devotee, and that is the best prayer also for a devotee. That is what we pray every day morning. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh Krishna, oh energy of Krishna, Srimati Radharani, please engage me in your service. And that is the highest prayer which can be made, which also pleases the Lord. Okay, someone else can read now. Sudha Mataji, go ahead. And then Karpagavali Mataji can read. We'll finish this chapter today. Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danda Pranam. Devotional service may be regulative or affectionate. One who has not developed transcendental affection for Krishna should conduct his life according to scriptural injunctions and under the guidance of the spiritual master. In Srimad Bhagavatam 2.1.5, Shukdev Goswami advises Maharaja Parikshit, Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavanishvaro Harihi Stotavya Kirtitavyascha Smritavyascha Chatabhayam. O best of the Bharatas, it is a prime duty of persons who want to become fearless to hear about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, and to chant about him and always remember him. Lord Vishnu is always to be remembered and is not to be forgotten for even a moment. This is the sum and substance of all regulative principles. The conclusion is that when all the rules, regulations, and recommended and prohibited activities in the revealed scriptures are taken together, remembrance of the Supreme Lord is always the essence of everything. To always remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead within one's heart is the main practice of devotional service, and in that practice, there are no regulative principles, there are no do's and don'ts. However, one should generally have. Thank you very much.
So, you can continue reading. See here, Tasmad. Tasmad means we already saw last time also. Tasmad means it's a concluding verse. That means what? Therefore, right? That means what? We are arriving at a conclusion of a couple of verses wherein one point is being delivered. What is that? Tasmad ekena manasa Bhagavan Satvatam Patihi. That means with one pointed mind, we should engage in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Tasmad means we should understand that it is a concluding verse. Very important. What is the conclusion? Right? Here, what does he say? Tasmad Bharata Sarvatma. Sarvatma means what? Everybody in this world. What are you supposed to do? Bhagavan Ishwaro Harihi Shrotavya Kirtitavyascha. You have to hear and chant about who? Bhagavan Ishwaro Harihi, the Supreme Controller, who is Hari. Smartavyas Chechata Bhayam. By doing that, what happens? By remembrance of the Lord, what happens? Bajahure Mana Shri Nandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare. Abhayam. That means when we are remembering the Lord, when we are extremely anxious, when we are frightened, what happens? Fear runs away from that place. Right? So whenever we are fearful or anxious, what we should do? We should sing this song at least. We can, if you don't remember anything else also. Right? Simply by remembering the Lord. Bajahu Remana Shri Nanda Nandana. By remembering Nanda Nandana, the son of Nanda, Lord Shri Krishna, then what happens? All the fear and anxiety in our heart will run away. When we surrender to Krishna, then we know that what is not within our control is within the control of the Lord. And in this way, all our fears get vanquished. Right? And then also Prabhupada is making a reference here. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself is making a reference to this verse. Smartavya Satatam Vishnu Vismartavyo na Jatu Chit. Sarve Vidhi Nishedhyasur Etayor Eva Kinkaraha. Sarve Vidhi Nisheda. That means all of the rules and regulations, Yama and Niyama, that we follow. Chanting Hare Krishna, no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex. All of these regulative principles. We are all doing it to ensure that we can come to the platform of always remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead and never forgetting the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Smartavya Satatam Vishnu, always remembering Krishna. Vismartavyo na Jatu Chit, never forgetting Krishna. These are the essential things for which we are doing all of the devotional service, for which we are doing all of the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, for which we are hearing this Bhagavatam, teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Bhagavad Gita, all of this. Why are we hearing? We are hearing so that we can always remember the Lord, so that we can never forget the Lord. So whenever, especially when we are in anxiety, like Kunti Devi says, I want more and more troubles. Right? Whenever trouble is there, when trouble is not there, does not matter. We simply remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead by chanting His holy names, by singing nice bhajans for the pleasure of the Lord. And in this way, we always try to remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? And then one more point was there. What is that? Yeah, so this is what it is. Right? This is the prime duty. Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma. Very nice verse. Right? So what is it? That is the duty of every living entity, to always remember the Lord and to never forget the Lord. Okay. Let's move ahead. Sudha Mataji only can read. Are you there? Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranam. However, one should generally accept the following principles to properly execute devotional service. The devotee should: 1. Take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. 2. Receive initiation from the spiritual master. 3. Serve the spiritual master. 4. Inquire and learn love from the spiritual master. 5. Follow in the footsteps of holy persons devoted to the transcendental loving service of the Lord. 6. To be prepared to give up all kinds of enjoyment and suffer all kinds of miseries for the satisfaction of Krishna. 7. Live in a place where Krishna had its pastimes. 8. Be satisfied by whatever is sent by Krishna for the maintenance of the body and not hanker for more than that. 9. Observe fasting on Ekadashi day. This occurs on the 11th day after the full moon and the 11th day after the new moon. On such days, no grain, cereals, or beans are eaten. Simply vegetables and milk are moderately taken, and the chanting of Hare Krishna and reading of scriptures are increased. And 10. To show respect to devotees, cows, and sacred trees like the banyan tree. It is essential for a neophyte devotee who is beginning to follow the path of devotional service to observe these 10 principles. The 11th principle is to try to avoid offenses in serving the Lord and in chanting His holy names. There are 10 kinds of offenses in the matter of chanting the holy name. 1 is to blaspheme a devotee of the Lord. 2. To consider the Lord and the demigods on the same level, or to think there are many gods. 3. To neglect the orders of the spiritual master. 4. To minimize the authority of the scriptures, the Vedas. 5. To interpret the holy names of the Lord, holy names of God. 6. To commit sins on the strength of chanting. 7. To instruct the glories of the Lord's names to the unfaithful. 8. To compare the chanting of the holy name to material piety. 9. To be inattentive while chanting the holy name. And 10. To remain attached to material things in spite of chanting the holy names. These 10 offenses against the holy name should be avoided. The 12th
Hare Krishna.
principle. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. So these are the 64 angas of devotional service that have been given by Rupa Goswami, which are stated in the Nectar of Devotion. Right? What is stated in the Nectar of Devotion? The 64 angas. The first 10 are to-dos. Right? That means niyama. Niyama means these are the things which have to be done. Right? And then yama means the things which should not be done. Right? So this first 10 points which I mentioned here, starting from taking shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, receive initiation, serve the spiritual master, inquire and learn from a spiritual master, following the footsteps, right? Following, observing days like Ekadashi, showing respect to devotees, cows, etc. Right? So all these 10 points which are given here are the niyamas, are the rules and regulations to be followed by a sadhaka bhakta. And then what is the 11th principle? Avoid nam aparad. Then every day in the morning we chant, right? We chant these 10 offenses that we need to avoid while chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. What that starting with blaspheming, not committing Vaishnava aparad, the mad elephant offense, right? To blaspheme the devotees who dedicated their lives and propagating the holy names of the Lord all over the world. From this until to not have, to maintain material attachments even after understanding so many instructions on this subject matter, right? And then finally, to be inattentive while chanting is also the greatest offense. That is the offense. Inattentive chanting actually leads to all the other offenses in chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Right. So in this way, these are the principles. The first 10 plus 1, which is avoiding offenses to the holy name. These are the 11 principles that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is again describing to Sanatana Goswami. And then now we will see from 12 to the 64 angas of devotional service what is explained by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Rupa Goswami. So these principles which Prabhupada is stating here, we have to ensure that we follow all these. And then finally, there will be top 5 angas of bhakti, right? That if we practice these 5 angas of bhakti, then automatically all of the others will get covered. Like for example, it is said that if you attend Sunday morning program in an ISKCON temple, about 40 of the 64 angas of devotional service are automatically covered there, right? Which is starting with taking darshan of the deities, offering obeisances to the Lord, doing parikrama of the temple. Like the 64 angas of devotional service which are given, all of these will be done if we simply engage in the service of the if we simply follow these top 5 angas of devotional service given by Rupa Goswami in Nectar Devotion. So we will study this in greater detail. All the 64 angas are described here, and then finally the top five angas of devotional service will be described by Rupa Goswami, and Sanatana Goswami also describes in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, right? How do we perform devotional service? What should be the mode of performance of devotional service, right? And that is what is simplified for us, right? Which is given by Rupa Goswami as the 5 top angas of bhakti. So in this way, today we will just revise what are the first 10. The first 10 starts with taking initiation from bona fide spiritual master, and the 11th one until the 11th, following of Ekadashi, taking initiation, all of those principles. And the 11th one, which is very important, is not committing nam aparad. In this way, chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, we will slowly but surely progress towards pure devotional service. Right? The 10th anga was, practicing Ekadashi, observing Ekadashi. Right? So that is why we try to do more devotional service on important days like Ekadashi, the appearance and disappearance days of our acharyas, etc. Right? Why? Because they give us more devotional credits by which we get empowered to practice more devotional service. All right. So with this, let's end our session for today. Karpakavali Mataji will start with you tomorrow. Yeah. So in this way, we've covered until principle number 11. So tomorrow we will start with 12 to 12. Tomorrow we'll try to complete this chapter. This will be from 12 to 64 angas of bhakti, finally culminating with the top 5 angas of bhakti that we practice. This we practice every day. Even at home, we practice the top 5 angas of bhakti, which is sadhu sangha. In the association of devotees, we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We hear Bhagavatam, Baturavas. That means we worship the deities even at our home. We worship the deities and then we perform devotional service. Right? These are the top 5 angas of bhakti that we do every day. Even at home, it can be practiced. And by simply doing this and remembering the Lord, all the other principles are automatically being fulfilled. Right? So with this, let's end our session now with Harinam Sankirtan. So I request devotees to switch on your cameras, and then we will see who all have joined our today's session. And then we'll meet tomorrow as we continue with teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Tomorrow is Tuesday, right? We'll continue with teachings of Lord Chaitanya, complete this chapter 12 tomorrow. And then day after tomorrow, we will go back to our Bhagavad Gita. And then we'll start with chapter 13 next Monday. With that, we will end our session today. Let's quickly do Harinam Sankirtan. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatyadeeshadarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Radha Madhav Jaya Radha श्याम सुंदर जय राधा रास बिहारी राधे जय जय प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौरा हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौरा हरि बोल। कलियुग पावन हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। कलियुग पावन हरि नाम संकीर्तन महायज्ञ की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णवा वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। Hare Krishna. That was pronounced to all. So yesterday, as we all know, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj left this world. So, we actually yesterday we also had this yajnas at home. We had this Ayush Homam and Shri Dhanvantri Yajna and Vaishnava Shanti Yajna, and then we had Krishna Katha on the topic of Janma Sartha Kari Kara Paropakar, and then we also had we also performed the Gaur Arati. And then of course distribution of Krishna Prasadam. It was all dedicated to His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, seeking his blessings on the auspicious day of his Tirobhav. Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, he was in Dehradun. He actually did the Bhumi Puja in Dehradun for the temple that was to be that is to come up there, and on the auspicious day of Dwadashi, actually he left this world. And if we see even the will of Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, he says, I only possess one Rolex watch, which was given to me by Srila Prabhupada. And then he says, my only possession are my deities. Right? It is said that he possessed several Shaligram Shilas, which he used to worship every day. And whichever ISKCON temple he goes, he will be performing the Mangalarati in that particular temple. So like this, Maharaj was he was a trustee for Bhakti Vedanta Book Trust. He was made he was actually the India in charge as by Prabhupada. He was one of the the first 11 acharyas also prescribed by Prabhupada for giving initiations. He has more than 50,000 disciples. So of course, while we do feel separation from Maharaj, we do not have Maharaj personal association. We are praying for His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj to be Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj blessings, all of us, so that we can also practice our life in such a way that we can do Janma Sarthi Kari Kara Paropakar. Right? Janma Sarthi Kari means we've got this human form of life, and how can we perfect this human form of life? By practicing Krishna consciousness ourselves, become strong ourselves in the practice of bhakti, and also preaching this message to others. So that is the way in which we can actually sarthakari our human form of life. We can perfect our human form of life by practicing devotional service ourselves, becoming strong in devotional service ourselves, also preaching this message of Krishna consciousness to everybody. Yare deke tari kahe Krishna Upadesh. So today the samadhi is happening as we are talking now. The samadhi is happening in Vrindavan Dham. This is also the desire of Gopal Krishna Maharaj only, that if I leave my body in North India, or then my samadhi should be in Vrindavan Dham, or if I leave my body out of India somewhere, then it has to be in Vrindavan or Mayapur. If I leave my body in Mayapur, then it has to be in Mayapur Dham, like that. So the devotees, their only concern is to always engage, even after this body is, anyway we all know it is going to perish someday or the other. So devotees always prepared. So we learned so many lessons from His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. We pray the lotus feet of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj to bless us, so we can also practice devotional service very nicely, and thus please Maharaj. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj ki jai. And also would like to thank all the devotees who came home, Sudha Mataji, Chitra Braja Sevani Mataji, and all the devotees who had come home yesterday. Thank you all for your association. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to serve all of you. We also dedicated our yajnas and katha, kirtan, Gaur Arati, prasadam, everything, seeking the blessings of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. So thank you all very much. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudeva ki jai, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj ki jai, Ananta Koji Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So, and His Grace Harinam Krishna Prabhu also expresses, we could not Zoom record or anything because, we were having a little bit of confusion whether we should go ahead with the program or not. And after consulting with the senior devotees, and as per their advice, we went ahead with the yajnas and kirtan, because it is a spiritual program, which so we will dedicate it for seeking the blessings of Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. So in that way, we did it. It started at 3 o'clock and ended almost by around 7:30. By the time it ended, it was 8 o'clock, right? So it was very nice association of devotees for about 5 hours. It was transcendental, and especially I have to thank all the devotees who took out time and came home again, gave us opportunity. I can see Sudha Mataji nicely smiling. Thank you so much, Mataji, for coming. I'd like to thank all the devotees, and please do give us more opportunities to serve all of you and all the devotees out of Mumbai also. Thank you all for your best wishes and blessings for His Grace Harinam Krishna Prabhu. He also expresses his gratitude to all of you. Thank you very much. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. Nitai God Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. So if anyone has any queries or questions, you may raise your hands. Otherwise, we can end the session now. We'll meet tomorrow and complete our chapter 12 of Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. All right. Thank you so much. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Teachings of Lord Chaitanya ki jai. Anantapuri Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.